Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. What's going on, everyone? Technical difficulties this morning. Antonio's going to be here. He's working on the connection, getting on board. So I just wanted to give a shout out to a few people this morning. First and foremost, a future pirate, Marcia Rees, got this amazing copper backing. I don't know if you can see that or not. The Pirate Syndicate. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. And she has Stay Well. Oh, here it is right here. Stay Well copper naturally kills 99.97% of germs on contact. You know, copper, I used to put it on my barns when I had barns back in another lifetime. For the moss, because in the Northwest, you know, there's lots of rain, there's lots of weather, and it's a lot of things that create moss. And copper is a natural antimicrobial protector. I don't know the right terms. You know, it keeps you healthy. So these things go. I'm going to put this on the back of my phone, so as I'm touching my phone, it always protects me from germs. How cool is that? So she sent that to me, and I just love the fact that we are doing some things. So I just wanted to give her a shout out and let her know that I appreciate that and all of the gifts, and also things that people send me. I've received some amazing books, birthday wishes, all of those things. And I just really want to thank the community, the pirate community, for all you do and all you do to support each other, hopefully. And I hope that you have met a few people along your journey in the pirate community. As we get on board, and I know that somebody's sending me a voicemail message right now, but I can't, if you're on here, Warren, I'm on the show. So, yeah. On the show, Warren. Never a dull moment. Never a dull moment. And how are you today? I want to find out how you are doing. How was your week? What's going on? And what is taking place in your life that is interesting? Drop it in the comments. Let's get this party started, because today's guest is a unique individual that's doing really great work in a lot of different ways. And we want to be able to talk about some of the things that he's doing and working to help each other in the community. And as you know, that's what it's all about. Happy Friday. Been on the roller. There's Antonio. Let's get Antonio in the room, all right? Here's Antonio.
That I didn't have Chrome.
Technical issues. I'm sorry that I should have I don't know. Tracy probably sent you a piece of information. It's just one of those things that Friday. I know you're a busy individual, so let's get the party started. How are you doing, Anthony?
I'm doing fantastic. It's Antonio.
Antonio, I'm sorry.
That's all right. How's everything with you?
And I'm doing well. So we're just rocking and rolling here on a Friday, and I just wanted to highlight you because I saw you on Warren's podcast. I saw you on the show talking about what you're doing. So for those that haven't met you, share a little snapshot about what you got going on in the world today.
So we're working on, solar powered pods, which are multi-purposed, right? So for COVID, we've created a pod that's transparent and was able to help, restaurants stay open during the pandemic, take advantage of their outdoor dining, outdoor seating. For example, New York City's made outdoor dining a permanent situation. So we make these transparent solar powered pods that allow you to shield away from the elements, have all of the luxuries of having power and utility inside in a sustainable way. And then we have HEPA air filters in there to provide a nice, healthy environment. And then we also have LED lighting, which allows you to change the different colors. So you can have your pod blue, purple, red. And then we also put Amazon Alexa in them. So you can actually decide what kind of music that you'd like to play. So it's really creating an environment to where you don't feel like you're dealing in COVID. You're not worrying about the table next to you, what they're doing, what they're talking about. We also make a pod that is more as a business in a box. And that pod allows for more like economic development, pop-up retail, festivals, and things along those lines. Yep.
It's a fascinating subject and an idea. So what, you woke up one day and you said, hey, this is a great idea. I'm just going to go do this.
Well, I would have to rewind, much further back, right? So I took 2 years off to do a around the world trip. I did a sabbatical, and during that around the world trip, I visited many countries that had problems with power. Right? You go to the majority of African countries, they have problems. Southeast Asia, Brazil, even in the Caribbean. So it didn't make any sense to me that people didn't have power there, because I started in the solar energy business at a young age. I'm like, you have sun, therefore you should have power.
Yeah.
Energy poverty
goes hand in hand, huh?
Goes hand in hand, right? So energy poverty, is a very big problem. It's not just, not having money, but if 25% of your budget goes to things along the lines of power using a generator, and you have sun, didn't make any sense. So I created a solar business in Africa, and it was a solar lantern to help people in some of the rural areas. For kids, they can utilize it to do homework instead of 14 lanterns. And for women traders at night, they wouldn't have to breathe in hazardous fumes from using kerosene. Remember, a lot of people in developing countries
they use kerosene.
They work with kerosene. They work with their kids around them. So you're always breathing in these hazardous toxic fumes. So I started working with companies like Shell, MTN, Save the Children, where we branded their logos on it, and we gave them out. So that's kind of how I started getting the name, the Concierge of Social Good, because people couldn't really afford solar lanterns. They could afford the 25-50 cents a day for kerosene, but they couldn't afford a $10 solar lantern. So I went to large companies and also went to politicians. And I came up with a campaign strategy, and I told politicians, I said, look, I said, if you have your face on a solar lantern and you're giving it out, you're already solving the problem. So do you vote for the person that leaves you in the dark, or do you vote for the politician that gives you light? I'm going to vote for the politician that gives you light. So we came up with that slogan, really help people with solar. And then with SolarFi, we realized there's a bigger issue with internet connectivity. 4 billion, according to Microsoft, we have 7 billion people in the world, and 4 billion don't have access to high-speed internet. Yeah. So, we got a problem with solar. We have a problem of internet connectivity. Like, you can't do teleeducation. You can't do
It's really a distribution problem, isn't it?
It's a distribution problem. Absolutely. It's a distribution problem. But like in Africa, for example, they leapfrogged landlines.
Yeah.
Right. They went right to cell phones.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the same thing you're starting to see there with power. They're getting the grid. They're going right to, solar grids and mini grids. So to fast forward a bit, I want to create the SolarFi to have this business in a box to help women entrepreneurs be able to sell their goods and not have to run a generator every single day, which was probably their biggest expense. And actually to fuel the generator was even a bigger problem. You actually had to commute hour to 2 hours to the nearest gas station in a rural area in Africa just to get gas for the bloody generator. But you have sun right in your backyard. So we wanted to create like this 7x7x7 pod that can be utilized for education, can be used for economic development, and can be utilized for health, all kinds of different issues. So when the pandemic happened, I had to leave Africa, and I wanted to come back to the States, where I felt like I had the necessary healthcare stuff. So, I started going to a place called the Mount in Edith Wharton's home in the Berkshires. Lovely place. beautiful, and I like to be in nature. And I always had to leave nature for 3 reasons: power, internet, rain. Power, internet, rain. So you're out there, I'm on a Zoom call, talking with you or anyone else, and my laptop's going to die in 3 hours, and I got to leave after I drove an hour and a half to nature. So I started saying to myself, how could I be outside, enjoy the beautiful elements, and not have to worry about power and internet? So I was like, this SolarFi thing, why don't we just create privé? So it's a private experience. You can pop these up in a park. You can pop these up at any botanical garden. Imagine going to a botanical garden and said, hey, you can rent your own office that's transparent and have all the power and everything needed. You pay, a fee for the day. Like, people would do that. So I started reaching out to friends in the restaurant business, like, why don't you seat people in there? And then I reached out to my favorite restaurants. I reached out to Italy, Mario Batali's former restaurant, and I reached out to Rosa Mexicano. And I started talking to customers like that. And then we had Privé. That's how Privé was born.
Wow. What a story. What a story. And it's interesting. Do you flat pack this? Does it fold up and is convertible to travel friendly kit, or how does it I saw the picture of it when you were with Warren, and I was just fascinated by it, and I thought I gotta talk to this gentleman. So
thank you. Yes, you can do that. Most of the time when we set it up, we leave it set up, and then if you have to go to another location, we just put it all in a big U-Haul truck, and it's easier to just transport that way. But they're completely portable. We're coming up with another version right now. We're working with the University of Massachusetts on a pod that just will be in a backpack, and you'll be able to fold it up and be able to pop up anywhere. And really what we're providing is having a temporary structure or shelter without sacrificing all of the luxuries of having utilities like we're all accustomed to, but doing it in a sustainable way without carrying around a generator.
Yeah. Or having to carry a jerry can around with fuel in it.
Right. And as we move forward, we're working on, a pod that we're going to call the Ganja pod. And it's going to allow people to actually be able to grow marijuana safely. And a lot of people don't know how to grow plants. A lot of people kill plants. I killed a bunch of plants myself.
Oh yeah, my plastic plants wilt. It's like I'm bad.
Right. So I think the pods create an opportunity for restaurants to stay open. It creates an opportunity for you to pop up to a farmer's market and be able to sell your goods. So it's about opportunity.
It is about opportunity. And the funny thing about it, Antonio, is that right now, I know there are a lot of challenges for a lot of people, and I don't want to diminish that whatsoever. And with challenges, there's always opportunities, right? There's always ways to think differently, see a different perspective. Like you're out in the wilderness and you have to, shut down and drive another hour and a half just to plug your computer in. That's an opportunity.
Sure.
You just have to see it in a different way. It's a new perspective, right?
Yep. And I think, my world travels really helped me with that. I always tell people, traveling is one of the best things you can do for yourself, for your self-development, because you learn more about yourself, but you also get the different perspectives. Like I would have never known that people would travel 2 hours to get gas, right? And sometimes you travel 2 hours to that gas station. Guess what? The gas station doesn't have gas, right? They got to go to another gas station.
Yeah, it's here in the U.S., we are so fortunate and so blessed to not experience that type of thing on a regular basis, where a lot of places in the world, that's a regular occurrence. It's like normal life.
Most of the world. So 7 billion people in the world, 1.5 billion don't have access to the internet to power. And another 1 billion to 1.1 billion have intermittent access, which means power goes out for about 4 hours every day.
Yeah, I was working with that.
You can't do teleeducation. Kids can't do remote learning without consistent access to power. You can't power the internet without energy. Yeah. And solar allows us to be, consistent, and allows us to be sustainable, and it provides an opportunity for us to do things that we couldn't do before. We're talking about the new normal, people working remotely. this conversation right here that we're having right now is not possible without power and internet.
Yeah.
And Texas had a massive issue, right, with power,
absolutely.
right? So one of the things that we were talking with the government about is we have this pod called Bliss, and it has more power. All the walls are actually solar panels, and they fold up. And it's like, why don't you guys have a bunch of these ready? Because you never know when a natural disaster happens, right? And then we're always surprised when it happens. Oh my gosh, we had a hurricane, or we had an earthquake, or this tsunami came.
Well, think of emergency housing with FEMA, and all of the people that have been displaced from natural disasters.
Yep. And then what do? We go out and put out all these generators, and we cause even more problems.
Yeah. When you could just unpack a solar home, a solar pod, and put it up and get people at least covered, and get some space going so they can actually start thinking about recovery.
Absolutely. No question. So those are the kind of things that, we're excited about at SolarFi. And then some of my other things that, that I work on is I'm an Entrepreneur-In-Residence at Columbia University. I'm really passionate about helping entrepreneurs start their clean tech business and helping them raise money, helping them with a go-to-market strategy. And then I also work with MIT as an advisor to the Entrepreneurship Center, and, really working with students to, understand entrepreneurship, right? There's a lot of kids out there that are really smart, especially IT technical, students, but they don't understand the business aspect of a business. They understand how to create a good app, but, how do you have a conversation with an investor? How do you do product market fit? And how do you get, just good feedback from people? A lot of, kids that, go to schools like MIT and Carnegie Mellon, they don't know how to have basic communication. They don't have basic communication skills sometimes. Like, when you have conflict, they're just used to being behind a computer, not talking to anyone, just zoning out. It's really important for people to understand sales, marketing, people management, and how to see opportunities. If you're just always building, but if you don't take some time to look at what's going on in the world and how to solve that problem, like why does this person have this problem? Why does that person why does that person have the problem? Why does the other person not have that problem? And then holistically figuring out how to solve solutions. So I'm passionate about like mentorship.
What was the seed? What seed got planted in your life that allowed you to take this path to, think about, deep thoughts and, communication and business and investigating the world and looking at things in a different way? Because, everybody has an origin story that, somebody influenced you, or, you woke up one day and you said, hey, I want to do something different with my life. What was it that prompted this journey early on?
I think it was a myriad of different things. The first thing that comes to my mind is we had foreign exchange students sometimes living with us as a kid. So we would have two ladies from either Brazil, Spain, Korea, and China. So understanding like even how they even came to our home and brought a gift, and them telling us about their culture, I think that was something that was eye-opening. And then I would also go to Toronto, Canada a lot as a kid to visit my father. And my father just always had a diverse group of friends, and he always had a nickname for a friend with his friends. Like this one's the captain, this one is the general, and this one, is Bill Gates because he's a software engineer. And he just had a different, he just like all his friends weren't Black, and all his friends weren't just engineers. He just had friends from every different angle. And then, in school, I think, I grew up in the inner city where I was the majority, and then I moved to the suburbs where I was a minority. And I think that also helped me see different opportunities and just like, okay, well, this is done this way, this is done that way. These people think this way. How do I converge that? And, I think also just like I watched the Travel Channel a lot as a kid. I watched Discovery Channel. Which is always, I think part of me was just kind of like naturally curious about always even improving myself. My mother always had, books out there for me to read, like Stephen Covey books. So I think as you start looking at self-improvement, you start looking further. And I always tell people, go as far as you can. And then you're able to, when you get there, you'll be able to see further. Like when I first got a passport, I never saw myself traveling the world. I was thinking about, hey, I want to go to Europe, right? And I want to go to maybe Hong Kong. But then once you get to Hong Kong, you're like, Japan and Korea are not too far away. And then Bali's not too far away. So you start to see different opportunities. And as you travel and meet other people, then they open up another part of your brain, like, oh, I never thought about doing this that way. Right. Yeah. And then it's like the travel, but it's just like this continuous thing, right? It's just like, oh, well, I guess I should go here next, or I guess I should look at that, right? It's just the evolvement just never changes, right? Like I remember dating a girl in Brazil, and her parents had been to over 100 countries, and they had this big map, and just hearing their stories.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I was inspired by Chris Guillebeau, who's I think traveled to every country in the world now, maybe even more than once, and just listening to his stories and watching his blog and everything else. And it's just inspiring to think that this is possible. Just like you said, this conversation we're having right now wasn't necessarily possible 20 years ago. Even 10 years ago, it was challenging. And sure. This morning, I guess is still challenging. But the reality is we're living in an amazing time where we can actually connect with individuals all around the world and build relationships with them. I have friends all over the world, not that I've met them face to face yet. However, it's possible. Mm-hmm. It's possible. And I know that if we dig deep enough and we're curious, there's always a thread that connects us.
Yep. You just have to have, a curious mindset. And I think if you work in science and technology, generally speaking, you're a curious person.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been in tech for so many years, and it's just always amazes me what is evolving and what's taking place. So what do you see as a business person now? Mm-hmm. What do you see in the evolution of solar power? I know there's a lot of, people that are in the space. Elon's had the roof tiles, and he's got the battery backpacks and some things like that. And, some large scale rollouts. And I know there's a lot of solar. I mean, I have solar here on the house right here, and where I am in Arizona, and it's always evolving and improving. So what do you see in the roadmap in the future from your experience so far?
Yeah, that's a very question. That's a very good question. I haven't, I wouldn't say I have a crystal ball there, but I would definitely say it's, I think you're going to start seeing solar, built into things. Like I've seen people have clothing designers. I think Tommy Hilfiger did something with a solar company in Brooklyn where they actually had solar in some clothes, right? So like just on the shoulders, and then like you've got a place to be able to power your devices. I think you're going to start, seeing, just solar combined into building structures. Like, why can't the solar panel be the actual structure of the building, and just making a stronger solar panel? I think you're also going to see lighter solar panels that are out there that can just be placed on things. I mean, we certainly use flexible solar panels. I think those are going to continue to evolve. I know at MIT, they've been working on like these solar powered race cars. And that's been interesting. They keep evolving that and making it better. But it's interesting to see what's going to happen. I think you're going to start seeing solar incorporated in more things, like how we're doing it with with mobility and for the pods. I think you're going to start seeing it built into like e-scooters and things along. I think you're going to start seeing built into golf carts. And it's just there's going to be different ways and different shapes and different ways to, incorporate solar into things. So
I have a neighbor right here in the neighborhood. He and his buddy are engineers on solar golf carts.
Yep.
So no motor required. It's just all solar. So it's very cool. Hey, I want to give a shout out to a few people in the room. Howard Kaufman joins in. Happy Friday. It's been a roller coaster. Well, I'm glad that it's going. Keep continuing to go. Yo, Antonio on his way. Warren's in there. Might be a few minutes. That's okay. It's all good. Tracy, the fabulous producer of the show here. Thank you so much. Terry Oscar is saying, hey, Howard Kaufman, thank you so much. Wendy is here. SolarFi on the pirate ship. Awesome. Welcome aboard, Antonio. This is so cool.
Great to be here. What made you come up with this podcast and video? I would love to hear a bit about your story.
Well, I started podcasting and started broadcasting back in 2013, 2014, and I was live streaming audio. I was working managing radio stations, and I created this station that live streamed high school varsity sports in Texas to the AM radio. So some of that technology I was using to actually live stream back to the towers, and it evolved into live streaming. And I've always been interested in how you can push the boundaries and how you can use tools, audio, video, because I believe that everyone has a gift and everyone has a message, Antonio, that they just need a way to share it. So now we have words, we have images, we have audio, we have video, and you just have to pick a lane and go travel, because we all have something to share. And you mentioned it, mentorship, going back and giving back. Mm-hmm. And so what I wanted to do is create an opportunity where I could actually highlight individuals that are doing amazing things like yourself, and then teach people how to produce shows for other things. And so the Pirate Syndicate is one of my companies that I produce shows for other people. So just it kind of goes full circle. So I help people produce their shows if they just want a show, or I teach people how to produce shows for other people.
That's awesome. I
highlight other people.
I love journalism. Would love to, create movies and again, share stories of different entrepreneurs that especially come from developing countries that, haven't had an opportunity. Like imagine being in a rural area in Southeast Asia or Latin America or Africa, and be able to just tell your idea about what you want to do. I think there was a great movie I came up with, the child that harnessed the wind. But he was fortunate enough to have somebody hear his story. I think there's just so many brilliant people that are facing a lot of problems. When you come from that type of adversity, mm-hmm. It sharpens you, so much. I remember being in Brazil, and I broke my shoe, I broke the what do you call it? This part of the sandal that goes between your, I don't know, your
you broke your shoe.
And the guy he found a rock, he found a piece of, and he just fixed it immediately. I was like, no one in America would do that.
They would just throw it away and go buy another one.
I mean, he problem solved. He's like, why would you ever throw it? He just problem solved it. Yeah. Right away. And
there's so many stories like that are yet to be told. Mm-hmm. And as we hone our craft and our ability to tell these stories, because we're all connected, and we're flying through space on the same rock. Mm-hmm. Let's do what we can to share those stories and get and find a common thread that we can all work together with. That's the whole point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Antonio, what's the next step for you're going to continue to grow and build this platform and expand on the business, and I would love to have you come back on occasion and give us updates if that'd be okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to create this village right now. I'm calling it Hakuna Matata right now. And it's remember I talked about being out in nature and having all of the luxuries of utilities. Creating a village. Picture an acre. I mean, I can do a screen share and show it to you if you like.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's possible.
It is possible.
Okay.
Share your screen. Open it up. We got a few minutes.
I'll have to open preferences.
If you just at the bottom of the screen, it says share.
Yeah, it's asking me to give Google Chrome the ability to do this. This is on Microsoft, I believe. Okay, should be share. 1 second. Can you see?
Not yet. You're not sharing it yet. So.
Share screen.
It'll come up. Once it comes up, I can share it on the
entire screen. See it now?
Not yet.
Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen. Follow these steps. Oh, geez.
Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's schedule a future event, and we'll do the share screen and cover the whole episode and all the activities and updates that you have going for us. Because
that sounds good.
I don't think this story is over, so I think you got a long way to go. So.
Definitely got a long way to go, but yeah, we're creating we're trying to create a village where there's outdoor co-working spaces and outdoor yoga mats, and also in areas like in New York and Massachusetts where it's legal now to smoke, creating an area where people can actually hotbox their pods and rent it per hour. So we're calling it all you can breathe, and then we're also looking to partner with cultural centers and botanical gardens that, you ever go to a botanical garden and say, wow, this is so beautiful, and you're happy.
Yeah.
Like, why don't we work from them? Why don't we just have a pod there that we just rent and just work in luscious gardens?
Yeah.
That's what we're looking to do. We're looking to create a cluster of these pods inside of places where people can take the inside of the office and bring it outside.
Well, I need my my son to see this episode because he was raised up in Washington in the Northwest, out on the peninsula next to the Olympic Forest on 30 acres.
Okay.
And so he has access to the property up there, and he's going to be expanding that. And what he would like to do is do Airbnb, but this would be an awesome opportunity for people just to get away.
I'd love to work with him on this.
Let's get an introduction going on that. So that'd be fantastic. So a couple of good causes, a good common goal, and get something out of the ground.
It'd give people a unique place to work, socialize, and collaborate. People can smoke a cigar at home, right?
Yeah.
They go to cigar lounges because they want to socialize.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be the same thing with smoking marijuana in states. Like, people want to be outside and create a nice environment to do that. Like, you had a stressful meeting, let me go to the side over here and do my thing. But then I have my co-working space in the Kuna Matata land, and Kuna Matata just means no worries. Like, the workplace should not be so stressful.
I love it. Well, Antonio, thank you so much for joining in and jumping on and going through the hoops to get here.
Thank you, Ross.
I know it was a journey, and thanks, Warren, for jumping in and for the introduction as well. So
thanks, Warren. Appreciate that.
I appreciate you, and thank you so much for being here, everyone. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And as you know, kindness is cool. Smiles are free, and you enjoy the day.
Thanks, Russ.
Go away, Antonio.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate